IGN has now released 2 whole articles about some of the enemies we're going to be facing in Jedi Survivor this coming April, and we gotta talk about them. Let's go. The first article covers 8 new enemies that we're going to meet in the game. Starting off with the infamous battle droids. From the trailer and gameplay, we've already become familiar with the newly refurbished B1, B2, and BX battle droids, as well as the IG-100 Magna Guards. This article also informs us that we'll be coming face to face with some droidicas as well. According to the production director, droids gave the team a lot more freedom when it comes to what they can and can't do, and what types of weapons they're able to use. The article then goes into detail about the different droid types, and I'll summarize that here for you. Starting with B1 battle droids. These droids will be used very much as cannon fodder type enemies. They'll be found in large groups and are easy to kill. Although they're quick kills, the enemy banter in Jedi Survivor is supposedly supposed to be absolutely amazing, and it will be worthwhile for you to take your time and hear all the funny banter. Next on to the B2 battle droids. These are the bruisers and will take more hits to kill. They have a blaster and a missile launcher, watch those wrist rockets, and once you learn how to reflect their shots and push their rockets back at them, they'll become less of a threat. Now on to the BX battle droids. These droids are a lot more agile and will put your melee combat to the test. With their vibro swords, they'll be an enemy that can go toe-to-toe with Cal and his lightsaber. Now on to the droidicas that we've yet to see in the gameplay. They'll behave how you expect them to, rolling in and activating their bubble shields, but other than that, we don't know anything about this combat. Finally, onto the IG-100 Magna Guards. These are a more formidable enemy for Cal to face. These seem like they'll be the Purge Trooper type of enemies for Jedi Survivor, highly trained and harder to fight. Now onto a more different variety of enemies. The Shield Trooper. The addition of the shield to the troopers we fought so many times in Jedi Fallen Order was simply to make sure the Scout Trooper would survive a bit longer against Cal's advances. Luckily, it seems like you can just force pull the shield out of their hands and throw it directly back at them. Next, we have an introduction to the DT Sentry Droids that we saw in the trailer back in December. These will be a big, brute enemy, and as stated in the article, they're supposed to be a real, oh shit kind of moment when you first face them. There will be 3 different versions of this brute you will face. One with a staff and a missile, another with a hammer, and finally one with a blaster. They also added that you can hack off all of its limbs and it will still come after you. This sounds like it's going to be a very scary enemy. The final enemy listed in this article is the KX Security Droid Enforcer. This enemy looks very similar to the KX droid we faced in Fallen Order, but it's an entirely different fight this go round. It has a lot of new variations. This one comes with a stun baton. This is going to be a brawler type enemy that can block and counter your attacks, which is very different from the one that would grab you and choke you and throw you on the ground in the first game. So these enemies are only a few of the enemies that we're going to be facing in Jedi Survivor, but just hearing about them in more detail is making me nervous but excited to get the game in April. Something else that's making me even more nervous is what I'm about to talk about that was in the new article that we just got today from IGN. Meet Rayvis. Rayvis is a large, brooding bounty hunter that we saw in the trailer back in December. He's a member of the species known as the Gen'daif. So who are the Gen'daif? The Gen'daif are a race of intellectual nomads that are almost entirely impossible to kill and live forever. Think vampire of the Star Wars universe. They're nomads because their home planet was destroyed hundreds of years ago. Their most notable feature is their bodies are just giant masses of regenerative tentacles. Their armor isn't necessarily there to protect them, but to keep their tentacle mass from spilling out. Even though this species is very interesting biologically, the narrative is truly what the game developers are loving the most. Gen'daif have a code of honor they bind themselves to that helps bind them to their history. So this new character, Rayvis, isn't just a grunt that's going around killing people, he has a history. Because of his age, he's seen so much. He's seen the rise and the fall of the Jedi, the rise and fall of worlds, and now the rise of the Empire. This also means he knows how to fight and how to exploit his enemies, such as Cal Kestis. They also discuss the parallels between Cal and Rayvis. They both share the tragic experience of being one of the last of their kind, carrying on their history. They help each other reflect on who they are and what they're doing. They then go on to talk about how in addition to the cool story and character the Gen'daif bring, they also bring a sense of fun as a game developer, because of how much it forces the player to rethink, because they can't just go in lightsabers blazing, because it won't do anything. It allowed them to develop more of a dialogue. The final quote from this article is impactful. It's from the cinematic director Dori Arazi. He states, "We're all heroes in our own story, and Rayvis is the hero of his own story. He doesn't perceive himself as the bad guy. He's a chivalrous knight in his world." The lead writer, Danny Holman, adds, "Which is something you can respect in a time period where people are so uncertain of the next day, let alone the next year. He kind of walks through it confidently and proud, and there's just something really kind of mystical about that." So, which enemies are you most excited to face and learn more about in Jedi Survivor? Let me know down in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe for more Jedi Survivor news. I'll be making more videos as more information comes out. Thank you for watching. May the Force be with you. Goodbye!